Okay. And that's the major commission. They on they say, or kind of give me the eyeball. What are you doing here? Now I've been on the road and they come screaming around the corner. Miles an hour, you're doing about 15. You go, you're not ready to be at your fault.
My frickin' four-door pickup, long frickin'.
Yes.
There were a couple of washouts we found. Like, there were double 6-foot culverts on the coast that
Had it on the
dam road there.
No, it washed.
Yeah.
Hear my voice.
I mean,
Where was this?
I don't know.
what is that? Well, that's the whole thing. They said, oh, I really what?
Is good or what?
To me, it's just necessary.
If you want something really challenging that you might not be able to get through, take the
It's just tough.
That's what.
So you are Johnson Mountain Road. Johnson, no.
Same page of partnership station. Hey,
Oh, where?
You have bars over your hood.
before.
Yeah.
It's there. This
2 years ago,
I have to
it
say
was so happened at 1.4. I was going down the Newtown Road.
Oh, may we rise to the pledge.
Hey, we're 15
I
seconds.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, the meeting is order. First order of business is resolution 2622 to accept the minutes of the meeting from January 21 to 2026.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Can I just ask that the vote reflect 4-0-0 vote on executive session, as I didn't do anything and I didn't say anything?
As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. We can do that. Any questions or concerns?
No objection.
No objections. So, motion to approve the minutes as amended. All right. All in favor? Very good. Good to go. Moved and carried as amended. Public comment. To allow members of the public to comment or reserve time to speak on an upcoming agenda item. Is there any members from the public who wishes to speak? Seeing no members from the public, we'll go to our workshop, the discussion of application for ATV access to Lake Watsy Road in the Forks. So I'm going to start off from the email that I received from Commissioner Alsop. Would you like to engage us?
Well, I can tell you how I feel about it. Is that?
Well, let's see your email. It's a good time to talk about the email.
Well, it was kind of. I'll summarize it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm opposed to opening the road, and I do so for safety reasons primarily, but secondarily, I'm familiar with the road. I went up there last summer to check it out. It seems to be it's a paved road. I don't think it's suitable for ATV use. There's no breakdown lanes. I'm concerned about the state of the existing law, which does not require, despite what the sheriff said the other day, does not require a driver's license or motor vehicle insurance or extensive safety gears, roll bars, airbags, whatever is appropriate. And furthermore, I've been made aware that ATVs are not set up for road use. They have inadequate tires, are not designed for road use. I think the section, at least as it's interpreted by the state, is for the purpose of providing access from one trail to another or to businesses. And, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about a matter of preference where we would use the road rather than an existing trail. I find it noteworthy that there was an attempt to pass a statute last year that would open up roads throughout the state to ATV travel, with towns having an opt-out provision, and that bill itself had additional provisions that required driver's licenses, safety stuff, and insurance. Without a driver's license requirement, there is no prohibition on a 10-year-old driving an ATV on an ATV access trail. I know we had some concern expressed at the public hearing by people that live on the road that want to be able to drive their ATV out of their driveway and down the road. But the state guidelines, as I read them, basically say that's not what this is for, ATV access. And I reviewed my personal opinion, I reviewed the public comment and what was expressed at the public hearing, and I do understand that there are businesses in the Forks that would prefer to have the road as the means by which ATVs come down to their places of business. But at the same time, there was a rather compelling letter from one of the major rafting companies in the area, and my guess is he's probably speaking for others as well, because the fact of the matter is there's a whole lot of summer traffic on that road on weekends by rafting companies that go up to it to get on the Harris Dam Road to start the huge industry, and there's a lot of traffic. There's also regular vehicular traffic. I don't know, maybe you all disagree with me, but when the gentleman from Weyerhaeuser spoke, I kind of got the feeling from reading between the lines that he was really, that ATVs and logging trucks don't mix, period. That's kind of what I was hearing from him. And he's not the only logging truck, he doesn't represent all the trucks that go up and down that road. As a commissioner, I just feel strongly that it's unsafe and someone's going to get killed, and I don't want to have any part of it. So I would vote against it. And I might feel differently if it was a wider dirt road, because I know there is basically statewide a recognition that it's very hard to get ATV trails built in the woods, and most ATV trails are dirt roads that have under an ATV access designation, even though that's not really what it's for. But anyway, I might feel differently about this, but what I find really compelling is that there is an existing trail, and it's more or less parallel to the proposed route. And we are in the habit, and I've joked about this, I suppose, a little bit in the past, but we give a lot of money to recreational clubs. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on groomers for snowmobile clubs. I think we could spend a lot of money on this trail, buy a lot of gravel, a lot of culverts, do what we got to do, fix it up, and do it all with our TIF money and community benefit money if we need to go there. So that's my long-winded reason why I'm going to vote no when this comes up. And it's a workshop. If someone can change my mind, I'm all yours.
Go ahead.
I appreciate and understand and have many of the same fears as Commissioner Alsop. However, the state allows it. The state permits it in towns like Greenville. They have not had an inordinate amount of issues in Greenville. It has unequivocally helped their tourism industry in Greenville. I was there this weekend on my snowmobile. I actually purposely left from the ball fields, went up to Coburn Mountain, over to Pollen Pond, over to Rockwood, to Greenville, and back down the trail that you on an ATV snowmobile. I stopped time between Moxie Lake the forks and remove or easily 20 pounds, this big boulders, with my snowmobile. There's one culvert right when you come off of the Boise Road that is over 3 feet in elevation. There's no snow. All you see is the crown of a culvert. And my son, on a snowmobile, absolutely sent it on purpose. And I'm just shaking my head because it's, he's young and silly. But the trail was, at best, the worst trail of the day. That section from Moxie Lake down to the Forks. It was approximately, and I should have odometered it, I didn't, 8.5, 9 miles, and that's out of recollection. It was, again, the worst part of the trail we rode all day on a couple 100-mile ride. And we have multiple businesses coming to us asking for help, and this is a tourism area. I am very, very conservative in my political philosophy, but I'm also a libertarian in the sense of you don't bother me, I don't bother you, do what you're going to do. And whereas the state allows this, I don't hold the duty. I don't 100% agree with what Commissioner Alsop said, because I've talked to game wardens and police. The game wardens have said a 10-year-old has every right to operate under the supervision of an adult a vehicle down that road. He's 100% correct. There isn't anyone that's going to argue that. If you're a parent and you allow a 10 or 12 or 13-year-old child to operate one of those vehicles, which go very fast and are not designed for the road, I agree with them. That's on that parent. That is not on us because we gave permission to use that road. I feel that way. They have the duty to their child. They know their capabilities. And I don't want to limit the general public because of the concern of what might happen if a parent makes that choice. And it may happen. It might. And therefore, I would suggest, and I know this is just a discussion, but my suggestion would be when it comes to this, is that we do a 35 mile an hour revision to the road, which they've all asked for, even in the 45 mile an hour section. During the public hearing, it was clear that they would support 35 miles an hour for everyone. That we do a dusk to dawn 1-year trial and see if it benefits those outfitters and those people, the Hawk's Nest and Barry's General Store and the other people that want to use it. And if it fails, it fails, and we take it and we do a year and say, no, it didn't work out, or we had these problems and it didn't work out. The one thing I'm apprehensive about is, in speaking with a game warden, and Sheriff Lancaster can expound on this if he chooses, is they have unequivocally told me that any incident on a tarred road is the responsibility of our sheriff's department and not the responsibility of the game warden. And so there isn't.
The last thing, where you said not the responsibility.
It is the responsibility of our sheriff's department, not the game warden, on a paved road.
Or the state police.
Or the state police. It's local.
Said that.
Yeah. And that could and may be a burden, and we have to hear that side of it. So for sure, we do have a third UT deputy starting. Hopefully, that might be a good resource because it's a UT area that needs this business. And again, I hearken back to, ecotourism is what our county is about. Ecotourism is the reason NEC and Northern Outdoors and Crabapple, all these people are in business. Think about the ATV rental companies up there. I talk to, I get them confused. The one in Bingham and the one North Country's in Bingham. The other one, North Country.
Power Sports?
No, the one with the brewery on the right in the
Northern Outdoors.
Northern Outdoors. Thank you. I get the two. Northern Outdoors through 201 Power Sports has rentals there, and would welcome that opportunity as well. So I've done a boatload of in-person questioning. I received some people that said we shouldn't do this. I'm not be forthright. I also received a bunch that said, give us an opportunity. I lean towards the giving them an opportunity to prove us wrong. Now, that may be, we may be proved wrong consequentially, and that could be really bad. But I'll harken back to, we can't babysit every person. And I think with the right parameters, 35 miles an hour, dusk to dawn, certain time parameter of months, that we can try this reasonably and see if it works. I'll rest.
On the same lines that I looked before, I think that better option is to fix and correct. For various reasons, risk reasons, and we can say all along that the liabilities aren't going to fall back on the county, but it's always at risk. Big thing for me is, if we put this in place, the sheriff's department's going to spend a lot of time on getting taxes. and that's a big piece for me. I've talked to other people. There's more than just one or two loggers that run, and they're not going to run 35 miles an hour for road trucks. Sorry. All things considered, the road itself, and I looked at it, so for me, it's just still, let's fix the bridge. The other piece was that I felt like, as we looked at it, we've gotten other emails that was about equal with businesses who wanted this to happen and those who did not want it. I think we have to consider that as well. The summer tourism, the rafting thing that John brought up. Just for me, it's less overall risk for us to fix the trade. Wow. Not having it be allowed on the road.
Oh, any thoughts or considerations?
Yeah, I guess I'm weighing multiple things. I do favor the idea of a sunset. Obviously, if we're going to do that, the reduction of the speed limit, while at the same time, I feel investments in building the trail system that's there properly so that it holds up. While at the same time, now, looking at the map as of 2 weeks ago and exploring a couple things, like I had pointed out, there's a chunk of property there in between that's actually state of Maine land, that it's the reason why they've purchased the property and why they don't pay taxes on it. But then there's one chunk that's Wagner that I would like to see. I don't know if we can study, especially government studies, because they usually are time and money. But somebody explored the idea of the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and there is an opportunity for a straight line. Basically, it's going to be the same distance as the road itself. So in the interim, maybe we can highly recommend that that's a problem. It would make sense for them that if the paved road situation doesn't work out because there's too much stress on law enforcement, or there's people getting hurt, that there is a better option in the future. And so, all of that, I think, and Alsop makes some really great points on the safety issue of that's a big concern as well. But that's what I would propose. Supporting the 1 year sunset type situation with the reduction, and then in the interim fixing the trail the way it needs to be, and try to figure out how we can come up with a better option for a straighter trail.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I agree with you that we need to fix the trails. One of my fears is, and I think when we get into budget season, we'll have a better understanding, we refer back to that community funds and TIP funds for the money, and I have no problem using that. But we also refer to that community and TIP funds for the $1 million worth of bridge work that we need coming up in that bridge. It can only go so far, right? And so if we commit a pot of money into this trail, then we really diminish our ability to do other things with that money. Whereas we can avoid that by allowing this on a temporary basis and still utilize that pot of money in other areas where we're going to need it. So I just hasten to think that I don't think that that's just the answer. You know what I'm saying? To just say I just caution us to think about how far we can spread that money. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My concerns about opening up the road to the ATV is that I have questions of line of sight. I have questions about the shoulder access in regards to how the law is read. I do think that if there's a capability of putting in a parallel trail, why that hasn't been looked at or thought about before, I don't know. There might be some holdout landowners that do not want to see ATVs on their property. But I don't think it's a matter of if there'll be an accident. I think it's the question of when. That's my real fear. So I can't support opening up the road. I can't support investing in a new trail or investing in the existing trail and bettering those. But as far as the safety concerns for everybody who's involved, not just the ATVers, but the people who have their driver's license and their registered cars and their insurance all up to date, the roads are for them, not for ATVs. I can't vote for it.
Can I just follow up a little bit? I need someone to help me out on this. I know that ATVs are typically operated in the summer, usually from May till November. And there's signs that are put up on ATV trails, the real trails, that say you can't go on this because it's too muddy or it's closed. And then after a certain day, it's lawful to operate your ATV on the ATV trail. So my question is this: does that control the so-called approved ATV access routes? That what this trail would be? Does that mean will it be illegal to drive an ATV down this road if we approved it in the winter as well as the summer? That's a long way of asking the question. Right? Can ATVs be run on roads on the winter long?
I don't believe so. I think there, if you might know.
There's not a closed season like
I
that.
just dealt with this in Madison because they have roads that they've opened up. And I did have a conversation with the warden that's in charge of those. And unless those signs are covered up, it says this is an ATV road. It would be hard to make a case because the fence would be, it says you can go on the road. The game wardens don't have a great appetite to enforce those laws on the roadway. They've made that really clear. So unless those signs are covered up, you can be on the road.
But you can't run ATVs on a snow trip.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And in speaking to another club member, and I agree with what the sheriff said, that's true. What they've done to combat that is they put language on the bottom of those signs restricting it to when the trails are open, meaning, yes, we can't take down those green signs, but the fine print of these are not open.
And I don't think Madison had those.
They did not.
But Madison has opened up a lot of it.
They needed that. And the change
That was my suggestion.
yes, and that would convey that you are not legally allowed to do that outside of the windows that you're asking. But currently, if it's a green sign, they can go.
Right.
But if the green sign has the fine print, they can't.
Because the fine print says this is ATV access. This is only for the purpose of getting from one trail to another. It's not a limited thing. This is not open season for roads.
Right.
But I think most of the public think when they see that little green sign, they think.
At 30 miles an hour, it's hard to read those.
Yeah. And you make this is a slight irony to this, which I appreciate, which is that we heard at the public hearing that one reason we should do this is because they're doing it already. And they're driving really fast so they won't get caught. And I didn't think that was a good reason. But it seems to me that it's a little disingenuous to argue that the reason everything's going to be fine if we lower the speed limit, where at the same time we're saying we can violate the law anytime we want because no one's here to catch us. So I don't know who's going to be enforcing the speed limit. The ATV access law specifically states that In this case, it would be the county and the county alone that's responsible for this, not the state police. And IFW don't have anything to do with it. So that's a problem. And in Greenville, there's an active police force that pays attention to this.
Agreed.
So anyway, I'll shut up.
Can I address a couple of things?
Sure, please.
Very, very good point, Commissioner, because I didn't really think about it until you brought it up. Once the road is plowed and maintained at the county's expense, and the ATV access is assumed, it becomes a year-round opportunity for people to use their ATVs in February, March, if the road's clear. So that's an interesting point that I didn't think they considered before. Every once in a while, you bring up something. So
Broken clock.
yeah. So the second thing is, and I mentioned this in an email prior to the meeting. I have all of the minutes and all of the input in this process dating back to September 17th when it was first discussed at the meeting under public comment. Whatever the commission decides, we'll have to notify Ben Toll, he's the applicant, and we'll have to put in our notification the rationale for the decision you made and give them the opportunity to appeal to Superior Court, because this is a land use decision. And so there's a process if they choose to appeal. So I guess if you're leaning toward making a decision today, then that's your prerogative. Whatever decision that you make, probably we'll have to draft up something for you to sign at the next meeting, and then make that your official statement.
Tim, on that point, if in the event that we do vote against it, or in any, however we vote, because aggrieved landowners could also appeal for obviously a different reason, but the same process. So I would volunteer to work with you and anybody else on drafting something that we could all review together at our next meeting and make changes or adopt it or whatever. I've done a lot of writing. It's right. I'm kind of churning away on this for a while.
And the third comment I had was in regards to trail repair. So Christian has been working off and on to try to consolidate a group of impacted trail posts throughout the northern part of Somerset, throughout the UT, to be able to collectively put in for congressional direct spending money through Senator Collins' office. It's kind of a heavy lift because you're herding cats. But in addition to that, FEMA just posted their grants for disaster supplemental recovery. So all of Somerset County was considered disaster from the storm at the end of 2023 and into 2024. And so all of Somerset County is eligible to apply for these grants. That would include repairing damage done to trails, shoring up trails, moving trails so that they don't suffer any similar kind of damage. So Christian and I have talked about this. That's also something he's following up on. To Commissioner Skilling's point, you could run your TIF dry trying to fix the trails. Anytime you could use TIF as your grant match to leverage greater dollars, that's the way I would recommend it. We approach it.
Tim, just a thought. I know I'm speaking with ignorance as usual. Can we get the trail bond money? Is that available too? I don't know.
It is. I really don't know that much about it. I know Christian has looked into it, but so.
On the other end of this, what is the process to reduce the speed limit to 35?
So you, as the commissioners, would have to send a letter petitioning DOT to do a study. DOT then does a study, and after that study, they determine. They just don't say, okay, county wants 35, we'll do 35. They determine whether it needs to be lowered. So it is out of your complete control.
But would formulate in the use of ATD on it. That would go into the decision making.
Yeah, certainly would.
Yes.
And do we know how long that would take?
We did it in Madison. They did the study over the course of the summer, and they made the change on East Madison Road heading into the village of East Madison. They did the change in September, I think. So it could be something if we ask, regardless of ATV traffic, it would be a factor. But if we ask this summer, they could probably turn it around by the end of the year. That's based on my experience.
Because that's what my next consideration was, is that we go forward with the ask, irrespective of our decision now, and see how that goes. And we could also table this decision until after we hear from the state regarding the speed limit.
I would suggest we move one way or the other. I'm okay with whatever we decide. I think we all kind of have pontificated where we probably lay on this matter. I'm speaking to two trail masters in Bingham and in the Forks area. They have asked the decision be made, A, they can do this protest thing if they choose, or B, if we were to vote in favor, they could go out and fundraise to get the maps and the things printed before the summer. I think they would prefer, in general, the petitioner, etc., would prefer an answer. So in my mind, I don't see a lot changing. I'd rather give the person the answer, yay or nay. That's whatever's decided is decided. But I would rather, and they can always come back in a year if we can get the speed limit lowered and they want to re-petition us and we have other reasons or whatnot, we can evaluate that again. Yeah.
And we will have that resolution coming forthwith.
Wonderful.
Any further discussion on our number one workshop? Seeing none, we will go to our number two workshop, which is to discuss a donation request from Winslow Community Food Cupboard.
So you should have an email in your packets. I'll just refresh your memory. Winslow Community Food Cupboard applied for a matching grant in our last round of matching grant reviews. And their application was rejected primarily because their project, they wanted to expand their cold storage in their Winslow facility. Because money would have been spent outside of the unorganized territory, outside of the county, it wasn't deemed to be eligible for matching grant. So in my conversations with them, I said, if you want to request a donation, the commissioners did give a donation to the Winslow Food Cupboard, albeit a small one of $500 last year, primarily in appreciation for the work that they do not only within the county, but also serving the unorganized territory with their mobile food service. This mobile truck, which is a truck and a trailer, and they actually have 3 of them, and they travel to all sorts of towns in Kennebec and Somerset County. And if you're in Madison, you go to the church over on Maple Street. They use that parking lot twice a month. If you're in Solon, they use the old Super Rent parking lot. So they park there, people know the schedule, and they can come and get relatively fresh fruits and vegetables, and in some cases, bread. There's no staples. This is all pretty perishable stuff, and so they're turning through that. That's what this Winslow Food Cupboard does for residents in Somerset. So Christy Letourneau is the director there. She's the one that sent me the email that I put in your packets, and they're requesting a donation of $8,000 toward their general operating costs. So this would not be construed as money that will be spent outside of Somerset, but rather money that's used to provide the services in Somerset. I think you have your choice as far as if you wanted to take this from TIF or community development or community benefit money. I think either one would be appropriate. So I provide it to you to discuss.
Do you have any idea? So they mentioned in here in Jackman 1,495 households. Is that actually they serve 1,495 families? The same one over and over and over. The individual households.
Right. So the way it's been explained to me is every time they do a stop, they always ask, where are you coming from? And how many people are in your household? So they get a cumulative number at every stop that they make. And they do stops in some cases once a month. In other cases, they do stops twice a month. So that number is not individual families. That number is the total number of times they serve somebody in that community, because clearly there's not 1,400 households in Jack.
So that would be like
Even though it says-
food drop-offs per household.
Right.
I have a question. I have a friend of mine who just volunteered to do Meals on Wheels, and he's driving all over the place.
Yep.
And do they get their food from Winslow? Do they organize that as well, or is that a separate thing?
Meals on Wheels is a federal grant that is provided.
I didn't know whether there's a coordinating food source that they.
No, those are two different sources. So
I think Meals on Wheels goes to the CAPS, the KB CAP,
yeah,
or Pringles CAP.
and those are primarily to seniors.
Yeah, and those are all seniors. Or
Former council member John McCarty always spoke about the Spectrum generation Meals on Wheels.
right. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that helps me, so, I mean, $8,000 will spread over, it's almost 8,000 people for sure, people with this $1. Now we could add them.
We don't have a resolution on this.
It's roughly, it's roughly $1.
We're going. You could certainly make an adjustment to the agenda to add.
Yeah,
I just want to give you the opportunity to think.
I'm trying to think of a downside. Oh, go ahead.
I will just say, food insecurity is a big one for my wife and I. I chose when I was appointed on this job to give each of my towns the check from my wife and I for food insecurity. I did that, and I have Madison yet to do. I've done all the other towns that I represent. And in learning about the food insecurity and the needs in this area, Mercer has one, Smithfield has. I mean, if you go into some of these town offices, it looks like a food pantry, literally. It's as big a need as there is, and it's shocking the people that actually go to these pantries. Some may or may not financially need it, but they go there, whether it's their socialization, whether it's their elderly. It just is good. It's good. And I'm pretty conservative. So when I give away $8,000, there's a period of time. So I 100% think that this is a viable thing for either one of the.
And what account would the 8,000? It comes from TIP, community benefit, so it's not directly from property taxpayers. It's from outside of that.
Right. So your TIF is a property tax that the WIND or CMP pays.
Right.
The community benefit is an additional pot of money that the wind towers provided.
Right.
Right.
So I would say, and a lot of these people are the most affected by that situation, and the ones that were most against the situation.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes sense for them to receive it. There's if they want to call it the benefit.
Theoretically, we're only supposed to spend community benefit money in Somerset County, but there's no police force.
And they
If we send it there with the express proviso that they're all agreed that this is money that's being spent in Somerset County,
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to jail.
Yeah, I would, because community benefit money can be spent
Okay.
in and out of the communities. That would be the avenue that I would.
Get your hands full already.
I had a tour. It's pretty nice. Not gonna lie.
They do keep it pretty good.
Can I make a motion that we put it on the agenda for today?
Well, wait till we get down there.
Yeah, item
Do agenda items.
Oh, okay, of course. Sorry. Jumping again.
So we're there. So we can do that.
Okay. So
So we're good for any more discussion on the Winslow Community Food Cupboard. See none, we can move ahead to discuss the contract for road consultant for Somerset Organized Territory.
So David and I will give you our recommendation. You recall opening up the bids a couple of weeks ago, and we had 4 proposals to provide this service, and we did a couple of interviews. None of the proposals were anywhere near the dollar amount we were hoping that they would be. They were all very It seems like the more advanced engineering firm you got, the higher the cost was, which actually makes sense. So we have met a couple of times with a gentleman named Robert Lexline from Maine Highlands Development. He was hoping to be here today. He had a basketball game for his son. But
He's here now?
there he is. We were just talking about you. And so, as part of this workshop, I want to kind of be clear on the size and scope of the work that's done. Like I said, we had talked with Robert, found him to be very capable. He currently provides this service for Franklin County, so he's knowledgeable about the needs for roads. Franklin County has about 70 miles worth of UT roads. We have about 70 miles worth of UT roads. And so we would recommend structuring a contract with Robert to provide the service starting July 1st of this year, and basing that contract on the amended proposal that he provided for $52,000 annually, which is more than we ever paid the old guy. So, but the old guy never asked for much money. So, with that, I just have you introduce yourself to the commission.
Nice to meet you.
I do. Robert Cusack.
Hey, Bob. Joe Stebbins.
And can you tell the commissioners a little bit about what you've been doing over the last couple of years in Franklin County?
You can sit down.
Sure. Oh, okay. Well, I had you guys can see I got my own business. I started just about 4 years ago, and doing civil engineering work, and which is just sort of my background. And through a little bit of shake up in life, I decided to try something out on my own. So here I am. Things are going well. A couple of years ago, right when I was kind of really getting started, I got a call out of the blue from Franklin County asking if I'd be interested in the road supervisor job. And I said no, because things were going good, business was good, and I was kind of starting to like the way things were going. And there's Bob Carlton who kind of pursued me on this a little bit. And just through some talk and through some back and forth, it was a really good fit for me from my background. And so we worked things out, and it's been a great opportunity. And so basically, a lot of what I do is go around. I said just drive around the roads, but I'm checking the roads out, dealing with contractors mostly during the summer, taking care of road postings. That's just been on my mind today. Grading, dealing with contractors, identifying work, putting together scopes of work, putting together requests for proposals, sorting through any contracts and contractors that are putting together bids. And Franklin County is using me for a lot of different things now, engineering related, so I've been able to help them in that regard. I'm an employee with Franklin County in this case, so a little bit different opportunity here. But you know, the what you guys are looking for, Somerset County is looking for, right up my alley. It's what I do. I live right in Hendon. I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the roads. I guess I'm familiar with all of the roads. Spent a lot of time in the area just for work, for my business, and then personal, you know, recreating stuff. So really look forward to the opportunity to help. And I think that, you know, one of the things that Mr. Curtis and I discussed was the opportunity to kind of maybe have some shared efficiencies, if you will, between Franklin County and Somerset County. And I don't know how that looks necessarily like from a, you know, financial point of view. However, I think that there's a lot of opportunities, ideas, methods, things like that that can definitely transfer. And I'd be happy to be able to do those things. And it's really a benefit to me and Franklin County for that matter. It's just more experience and more things for me to learn and identify, and in this case, help Somerset County.
So, as I said, his proposal is there. We would certainly structure the contract around that, and we feel confident that this is something we could enter into as a 3-year contract. But that's a decision that ultimately you would make. the intent of this workshop is really to introduce Robert to you and to answer any questions that you may have. I don't have a resolution or contract drafted yet. That would be available at a future meeting. This would start July 1st. My mother tells me she'll let my dad work till June 30th in his current capacity. But he will also be a resource. That's one of the things that Phil has wanted to do, is to be a resource to the next person taking over, because he has invested nearly 3 decades into taking the roads in the UT from cart paths to actually usable roads. And if you think about it, this position has a direct economic development impact in the UT, because there are houses on roads now that were never there 30 years ago. And so that lends to the property taxes. So any questions or any thoughts?
The shape of this job, the way that you've been talking about it, is basically just consulting, or is there something else on top of that?
So by consulting, it would include working with the contractors for winter maintenance and summer maintenance of roads, putting together a bid package to go out for bid. You've got one on your agenda today for paving on Long Falls Dam Road. So putting together that bid package, inspecting the roads during certain times of the season, identifying these culverts need to be replaced, identifying this needs to be graded, working with the contractor to get it graded. Right now, Dave pays all the bills, and Phil works with all the contractors. So that's kind of the scope of the consulting.
And then the inspection of the work of the contractors after.
Right, and being the clerk of the works to make sure that the project is done to the specs that there was a bid on. Yeah.
Do we have references from Franklin County?
Oh, I have spoken with both Bob Carlton and Amy Bernard. Bob's the chairman of their commissioners, and Amy's their person. They just said, don't take him away from us. You're certainly, they want him.
I can happily keep two references. I wanted to keep things pretty.
Yeah.
In Franklin County, well aware of what I'm doing. So, yeah, I think it's just a good opportunity to help both.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's EPE LSE, licensed construction engineer, civilly. Is that your best?
My
come from education specialized.
my education is construction management.
Okay.
My professional engineering license is civil construction.
Okay.
And so I spent, say, the first half of my career doing earthwork and building construction, and the second half more hands-on engineering, and then in actual engineering firm towards the end.
So I would suggest that in itself brings immense value in the process of being able to bid correctly, scope correctly, and ensure that the work is done correctly without having to hire in a third-party firm to oversee that. There is immense value in what this man brings to the table from an educational and professional standpoint, in my opinion.
Yeah, and into that end, I mean, I do a lot of like DEP inspections. I'm a certified third-party inspector, and a lot of those. I do a lot of those things. I'm a one-man band, and so a lot of those things kind of keep me going. And it's bid in. At that point, I really appreciate now how much my hands-on construction background helps with those things. I know what we're bidding. I have a good idea of what I'm expecting to see. And I work with contractors regularly, both in Franklin County and then just as an engineer, so I'm comfortable. I've worked in that role.
One quick question. We're not going to get additional. This is all inclusive, right? 52 grand coverage. We're not getting additional bills for. But that's what the part.
The only thing that we have a gentleman's agreement for is if you were to spend a day with the current road commissioner prior to June 30th, we would compensate for that.
Okay, that's fine. But this is all encompassing.
Yeah.
52 is 52, and we got them, and when we need them. I realize it's limited time. We can't demand time, but you know what I'm saying. I just don't want to see. Oh, we didn't know about this. We didn't know about that.
But this says proposal based up to 3 days per month.
Yeah.
When we get to day 4, what happens?
It's essentially 3 10-hour days he's committing to being in Somerset County to look at roads and so forth. but that also would include office work like preparing RFPs. It would also do bid meetings, pre-bid meetings, and that sort of thing. So,
Is that?
That's all included in the number.
right.
And do you have the same 3 days per month situation with Franklin?
Actually, he's committed a little bit more to Franklin than he is to Somerset. Franklin does not have the pleasure of having a Dave Spencer.
And do you have other work commitments other than Franklin County and Somerset? I mean, and this as an engineer?
Yes. With this, I'm not taking any more work. I've been fortunate. I'm now in year 4. I'm getting a handle on what this is, and so I have a little bit of help. I have a lady that helps me tremendously. So I feel like this is a good. I can say with confidence that I can maintain this balance. And it really, it's exactly kind of what I want. And one thing, I don't want to oversell myself here, but I've spent a lot of time in these roads just in the course of what I do and living and working.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly, won't add that into my time in terms of what, I'm going to guarantee. But I drive around Franklin County and looking at it. Right? So there's things up. Make sure the appropriate level is done. What I've committed to, and I'm sure you'll probably get a lot more out of it. Just in my normal course.
And that was something we discovered over the course of this process. Is we had a opportunity to interview an individual that was interested, but he lived in Strong, and so he wouldn't on his day-to-day route go over the same roads. And what appealed to us about Robert is that he's in Emden. And he's traveling some of these roads for his work, some of these roads to get to Franklin County. And so that seems to be more efficient. And to have an eye for driving on a road that says, oh, this is a drainage problem. This is a crowning problem. This is a grading problem. That's really beneficial. The current road consultant takes his wife on dates. They buy Subway. They drive up to Long Falls Dam Road. They enjoy the time camping. So
There may be some of that.
you're an independent contractor, so you can take your dog in your truck.
He didn't take his son, see?
No, very rarely. Okay.
I have a question. Well, just maybe more of a comment, but as Joel brought up the word consult, that was the first thing in my mind. And then you brought up the fact we have a day in Franklin County, does it? Do we need to have somebody on or beyond just a consultant basis? Because it's a road-to-road fix kind of thing, case-by-case situation that Dave looks at and he says, oh, I'm going to call and have him come in and do that. As versus, would that be less of an expenditure and still efficient to do it that way?
I think if what you're asking is Dave still involved, certainly his position will still be involved in things. Especially a good example is disaster. That's where Dave had to get involved with FEMA, and he enjoyed that so much. But then he had to call the road consultant. I don't want to get hung up on the phrase road commissioner, road consultant, because they've been used interchangeably here. But technically, the work that Phil has done has been to be the road consultant. So this would really be no different in that respect.
Yeah, I handle paying bills, keeping track of what maintenance is done for the records, but I don't go out and view the roads and call the contractor and say, we got to grade this road. That's something Phil has always taken care of. So I just kind of do the office end when it comes to roads.
This mileage is the state or federal rate?
County rate.
Yeah, it'll be, even though he's a subcontractor, it would be the same we offer to our employees, which is federal rate.
Kind of like $1 a mile.
72 cents right now. 72.5.
Yes.
I think that's reflected on the commissioner's mileage.
I just put that on ACO contract.
And again, there's no item on the agenda for action today, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity to meet. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that the consensus is this is the right direction. If you can confirm that, then I'll draw up the paperwork and we'll move forward.
So I guess one other thought, maybe with we get a comment. So, as a self-employed individual, similar to, so I do carpentry for a living, you do earthwork for a living, being in that private sector position, and then being able to be in this position, when you see bids, when you see offers from other contractors, you know what these things are supposed to cost, and I'm sure there are occasions that the county, some may want to take advantage of the county.
Mhm.
Is that something that would be recognizable, and is that another benefit to us that?
Someone other than taking advantage. Okay.
Not you.
Okay.
No. Contractors that you're going to be working with.
Yeah. I mean, I take that pretty seriously. You know, I'm a taxpayer too. But I really feel like my name's on a lot of the stuff when it comes back, and I need to be responsible for having an explanation for why the price is what it is. And I'm a terrible liar, I can tell you that. So that won't work for me. You'll see right through that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's part of my job, my responsibility to do that, because that's what you hired me to do. My experience lends some credibility to that, and that's what I do.
Where we're launching off on something we've never done before, since the present road commissioner is sort of unique in many respects.
It came with the county.
Does it, I don't know the answer to this question. Does it make sense to do a year to see how we like this whole new system? Instead of 3?
That's really up to you. It was we asked when we did the RFP, we asked for a 3-year proposal.
Okay.
But if that's something the commissioners would rather do, that's at your.
I'm just, yeah, okay.
I would rather see a 3-year proposal than a 1-year.
Mr. Chairman, just to reiterate on what I think Commissioner Seekins was asking, and I just want to hear to know through the administrator, we don't have time for our administrator for the UT to be doing the road commissioner's job, whatever.
Right.
So am I correct in that is not something we can add to his tasks?
That is correct.
Okay.
And to be fair to Dave and to the county, we considered that. We knowing that the current consultant was going to get done, we considered maybe restructuring. And after Dave and I talked about it, it just wasn't the best way forward.
He's got
Well, and on top of that is, I don't believe Dave is a licensed engineer.
No, I don't have
So
to. I've learned a lot about road.
You would have to be hiring outside licensed engineers on a case-by-case basis, and a lot of the things that we're going to be offering here.
And if I may, my Franklin County experience has told me, so I'm going basically into my 3rd year now at Franklin County. It took me a full year to really get to know those roads. And I know I know all these roads, and I do. I'm familiar with them all. I did not study them, to really understand where the drainage is, those things. So whether you choose 1 year or 5 or whatever, I will say Somerset County, there's definitely a learning curve on this. And in a year, let's just say you chose a year and it didn't work, you've almost wasted a year of what do you call it?
Training.
on the job knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating it. I'm just
That's been my experience anyway.
saying.
If you
Institutional knowledge.
if you Google the word contrarian, is a picture shot.
I'm just asking questions.
This picture's just a lot of.
But yes, the learning curve would be more than a year.
Right. Good one.
Any further questions or comments? We're all set. Thank you very much. It's great to meet you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time and the opportunity. Thank you very much.
And we'll look forward to a draft of the contract so
Yep.
so that we can.
Yeah, between now and the next meeting, I'll
Yeah.
get that out to you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
How'd you sub it?
They won 46-43.
Ooh, wow. All right.
And 6:30.
There you go.
It's time to go.
Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it.
And keep your eye on the road.
Thank you. Take care.
We'll see you.
But don't. That's a bad measure.
We have no public hearings. And we're down to item G, new agenda items, commissioners only.
I would ask that we put a resolution in to donate $8,000 to the Winslow Food Cupboard through the Community Benefit Fund to fulfill their request to us.
Second. Discussion?
One, I wouldn't add it to the motion, but if we could make a friendly ask of they provided, or somewhere we were provided the numbers on how many people in Somerset they were servicing. If we could get some sort of report on that on some sort of basis, whatever makes sense, whether it's biannual or annual.
So they report along that every other food cupboard to Somerset Public Health on an annual basis. And so I can get that.
Just on how we. I mean, hey, they're doing a great job. It's an easy ask next time.
So before we vote, just let me make sure I got this right. It will be resolution 2627. And it will be to donate $8,000 to the Winslow Food Cupboard for work done in Somerset County.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll just clarify the motion. I can add that it will come from community.
Okay. Good. Is there any further conversation?
No, another commissioner concern.
No, another on this.
Oh, no.
We have to vote to put this on the agenda.
Oh,
now.
I'm
That's what
sorry.
we're doing
Yep,
right now.
go ahead.
Is there any other comments or all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, it's a go. So that will be 2627.
I'd make a 2628 that we allow Tim to go put a contract together for that gentleman. Does he need that motion to do that?
Hey, Bill, because the contract will come back before you.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to get out of it. Sorry.
No, it's a good point, though. Thank you. Yeah. So, any other commissioners have any agenda items? Seeing none, we will continue with the administrator's report.
So, been a busy week. I spent this morning testifying for jail funding before the Criminal Justice Committee. That seemed to be fairly well received, but then again, I won't have any victory until the counties have more money. I met with Jackman Town Manager Rick Petrie, and Jackman, he's the new town manager in Jackman. But he's a local person who's been involved in that community for decades. He is heavily involved in their volunteer paramedic program that they run up there. And I think he's going to do well as town manager. He was down at Skowhegan yesterday, kind of making the rounds. He went to meet with Sarah at the emergency management. He met with Matt McDowning over at Somerset Public Health, and met with Chief an hour. He would like to come to the next commissioners meeting and maybe introduce himself and you know, a little informational time with the commissioners. So I loaded this agenda to the hilt for the end because I won't be here.
I was going to say, you're not going to be here, are you?
That could be in on your next bag.
Yeah. You anticipate snowing on that?
Patrick and I got plans.
We're going to be close for 2 weeks.
So,
It's going to be in the newspaper tomorrow.
I'm pleased to say that all 10 seats on the budget committee are duly appointed. Thank you to the commissioners who attended selected meetings to gather the necessary data. So I got it all tucked away in our folder in case anybody ever asks how we get these budget committee members. We got them as pre-determined. Two new members, Kevin Nelson from Skowhegan and Rebecca Anderson Bright from Smithfield, both seem to be good members and good additions to the process. The new software in Deeds has been installed and training has been going on the first 2 days. I asked Tanya if she wanted to give an update. She said, let's do it at the next meeting. There's a lot to it. It literally is like learning a new language. And so, but this is the same software that at least a dozen other counties are on. We were the last holdouts for the last more antiquated system. So this will bring us into the 21st century.
Is there one county left that has the
I
old?
think there is one left. Yeah. So this will bring us, this will bring us up to speed. I'm going to allow the sheriff, when you get to his report, to talk about an opportunity that we have to utilize some of our opioid settlement funds. All I understand is we have an issue, as many counties do, with the technological marvels of being able to sneak drugs into the jail. And now it comes through ink. It comes through ink that is printed on paper that the inmates will eat to get the high off of it. And they will sell for or make exchanges to get this. And
Give them credit.
right, I mean, there's some ingenuity. So one of the things that many counties are looking at, not just in Maine, but nationwide because of this, one of the things that they're looking at is an infrared machine that can detect drugs on any material. So there's a vendor that sells this machine and sells the service contract that comes with it. After we met and reviewed the jail budget yesterday, we all agreed that this would be a good recommendation. Rather than to raise it from taxation, this probably $100,000 5-year contract, rather than raising that from taxation to utilize your opioid recovery settlement funds. So we're just kind of bringing it up for your discussion today, and then maybe bring it to you at the next meeting.
Does that leave us enough for a sublocate program?
Yes, so we've been monitoring that closely. We will have enough to continue with the sublocate program. We want to try to piggyback on what the county administrator was saying, that we have to keep drugs out of the jail, and they are using false legal mail, and there's a lot of rules about how, we are not allowed to look at legal mail or read legal mail, nor would I want to, but we have to find a way for that to detect drugs from coming in the jail.
So they infused the paper or the ink?
Yeah, so the last thing we had was we had a situation with the spice that came in the jail, and it came in the back of an envelope. And we didn't find it. It came through intelligence that we were able to gather. But that is just one of the ways that they're manipulating, and they do sell it. There are situations that happen within the pod as a result of those situations.
Like a lot of acid back in the day?
Yeah. So we have to be the big picture is that and if someone overdoses inside the jail, that's a very expensive situation for the county.
And this infrared machine works on anything, even clothing that may have something that's
Yes,
been moistened with.
I don't know about clothes. This is mail. This is a lot of mail that comes and goes out of the jail every day. Right now, we're having an officer look at that, but you can't. So one of the e-cartridges that they use, they'll half fill it with drugs and then half with ink, and then when they put it on a letter inbound, the ink will have the drugs inside. This machine will be able to detect that.
But I think to the commissioner's point, Major Wells explained that this is a mobile unit that can go in a cart that can be taken throughout the jail, and it will be able to pick up drugs on other items other than just the ink and paper. So it works.
Now-
Clothes or other contraband.
No, I don't want to belabor this, but if you got a hit on a particular letter, say, came back,
Well, then becomes automatic contraband.
you don't have to jump through hoops to open it up or see.
No, big automatic contraband, and we actually had people that you would not suspect send tainted mail in and that have drugs in them, but they do.
Patrick, can you just go, I'm new to the,
We have about 660,000 in opioid settlement funds, and we currently receive about 150,000 each year.
okay.
And that 150 is probably guaranteed for at least 10, but we have some that go out 18 years.
And that's, going to be paid to the county. For the,
Yeah, you have
and it has to be used for.
to be used related to MAT treatment or abuse treatment.
This is a direct correlation between drug overdose
Yeah.
and so that it is an expensive piece of machinery, but we don't have to do the taxation. We have a funding source that can absorb that.
And you're comfortable with that for years to come with the supplicate.
Well, the Suffocate, we're good for probably a year and a half right now. We still have to look at grants from that time, and hopefully maybe it's the thing that the state's trying,
The 1115 waiver.
Okay.
that goes through, so.
Just because I took your questions on the outside of the norm. You get this machine, you detect that. Where does that go from there in terms of the people that are saying that? Are you, as an agency, supposed to pursue that?
Oh, we do. It's a Class B crime dealing in prison contraband, and I mean we have a case investigation going on as we speak as it relates to that.
In doing a joke for the other day, talking to Evan, and he said that like 40% of the community was on the supplicate, $1,200 a month. So that's like 60,000 a month or whatever, give or take. This is 105 for a year for the next 5 years. Is that correct?
No, 105 cover 5 years.
Cover 5 years. You're comfortable? I'm asking preferences for the money. We got a lot of money. You're comfortable with that? That would only be 105,000.
Right. So okay. Yeah. Right. So the supplicate program is extremely important. We were the first county to do that in the state. We haven't had a debt on release since using supplicate, so that program saves life. But to your point, it's really a balancing act, right? So I have also the MAT program to help people so we can cut down recidivism. But we also have a security issue inside the jails that you also have to be very cognizant of. So I think this is an important piece of machinery. I think it's a great, so that we don't have to go to taxation. In this particular case, we have a funding revenue to take care of that.
Thank you, sir. I'm good.
Sometimes I like to use the administrator and department head reports to kind of give you a heads up for upcoming resolutions that are on here so that you don't hesitate to make a motion or not in discussion. One such is Dave's motion on the request for proposals for paving Long Falls Dam Road. That's a process that's been going on for many years. We did that at the time. We were very fortunate the last time that Pike Industries and DOT was already there, and they just kind of piggybacked on the work that they were doing. But as we go through that, we may want to discuss the anticipated costs of the project. And the sheriff is moving around some capital to fill some vacancies and holes in the fleet once again. The question at hand right now is the administrative car for the jail. This is not a take-home vehicle. This is a vehicle that stays at the jail unless it's used for training and travel and so forth by the jail administration. For many years, that's been filled by an old Ford Taurus. That old Ford Taurus is sitting at height and won't move anymore. And so rather than sinking $5,000, because we sunk $5,000 into it last year, rather than sinking another $5,000 into it, we'd like to replace it. In order to do that, we have an opportunity to purchase a year-old leftover Ford Explorer 2025 model that will go into the detective fleet. We will take the old detective unit that has about 50,000 miles on it and make that the administrative jail. So that's the detail behind that resolution to move those capital funds around to make that happen.
The words cheap, right? Or is it going to be?
No, it won't be used for patrol, though we have on occasions when the fleet has been thin, we have used it that administrative vehicle for patrol because we needed a car. But right now, that administrative car, as the county administrator said, is not moving. It can't move. They $5,000 to fix it. It's got over 100,000 miles on it. It's a 2014.
I'm sorry, is your question, Commissioner, about the 25 model Explorer we're asking to buy? So that the one that Hype has that they'll sell to us, is that a police package?
Yes, I apologize. I'm sorry.
So I just want to give you that information so that as you go through these resolutions, you go into the guys. That's all
I have a quick question for the sheriff on that. Is that because the chaplain vehicle to go to all?
When we can find one that he could do that. It's also used for the SCCC program for house checks. So that officer or that deputy that's assigned to the jail needs to do house checks.
No, it's just a. I'm sorry, because you and I talked about that also.
Don?
Patrick, will you be able to speak to just the funds and fund balances when we get there? Okay, thank you.
Set? All set with your? Good. And so now we'll move on to the finance report.
We finished 7 months in the year. Still doing well in the sense that all the departments are positive. My first estimate, usually the first part of the year I don't try to do any estimates for the end of the year, but now we'll get 7 months under our belt. I feel that the general fund should come in roughly at 400,000 favorable, and the jail fund should come in roughly at 400,000 favorable. Year to date, we are favorable when it comes to labor by right around 800,000. So the year-end forecast is really based on the labor in the sense that the open positions throughout the year and so on. So we're still looking good on that. Should be favorable to both plans. Have been working with the department heads and Tim's trying to get everybody pushed through when it comes to the budget. Probably been through half the budget right now. We've got another half to go in the next week and a half, but the budget's coming together. It's looking pretty good. I don't think there's going to be any huge surprises when we go over it with you guys in 1st of March.
Questions?
Just by way of reminder, as we look at your calendars, a month from today, March 4th, is the day-long budget. So just make sure you get that on your calendars, time. If you're excited, I can see that. But this is the opportunities for the department heads and you to have a conversation that maybe during like it's always helpful for me. To sit down and discuss things with each of us.
Unfortunately, every year it coincides with my trip to Florida. So I am hoping before I go on March 1st that I could sit down with you and maybe Patrick and just, so if I have questions, I can, because when I find zooming in for that day is particularly burdensome for not just me, but for everybody else. So
Actually, I like it better.
Thanks for that, Joel.
I must have been looking forward to it. It's already in my calendar.
Well, actually, by the end of next week, I should have a draft that I can send out to you.
Yeah, it'd be helpful.
So we can start reviewing it.
David?
In UT, we had an opening. We don't have many, but an opening for ACO, Animal Control Officer. And he got hired by the port and is doing port business now. Dresses a lot better than he did previously.
But we did get someone willing to take over the position, Steve Stewart in Bingham. He has been an employee of ours. He's helped out the last ACO quite often if there was a big job to do. So he's agreed to take over that position. I just got to get him to sign a contract. The other issue that's in the future, but it's got my attention, is we are involved with the fire department in West Forks. There's three of us. There's UTs from Somerset County, the Forks Plantation, and West Forks Plantation. The fire station at that time, when we first came together, basically it was a two-car garage that was kind of sitting on land that they didn't own. It was owned. It was one of the paper companies, St. Scott Paper, when it first came around. That land then migrated through Plum Creek and Warehouser and was sold. So we're currently paying $4,000 a year lease on a very ramshackle building. So they're looking to replace the fire department on the lot that the town office is on. They're very early at looking at numbers and paperwork. They've applied to a grant through Susan Collins' office that should pay about 75% of the cost of the station. Very rough numbers. Could be $2 million fire station. Our share would be about 10% of that. So we're looking at possibility of $200,000 in a year and a half or 2 years before we actually wind up paying anything. But we don't have any solid numbers yet. We don't have a plan yet. Just some ideas written down on paper, and they've applied for the grant. The grant is like a 16-month process before we hear the results. But when it comes budget time next fall, I will be budgeting money to go towards that. But I should have a much better handle on what we might need to budget at the time.
Quick question, Dave, on the grant, is that CDS agricultural? Okay. Why is they saying only, well, because you have to have 25% of that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yourself, correct?
Yeah.
We just got that grant for $15.
Excellent.
So that was my question about that. So what are they able to do in terms of what the individual townships, in terms of raising monies for that?
Well, I know the Forks has already started budgeting. They've already started putting aside money for it. I assume West Forks has too, because they're the most involved. It's the first time I've heard about it. It was last month, or actually a couple weeks ago, actually, at the meeting we have for the transportation up there. We do have funds currently sitting in a CD. The transportation up there was a landfill. And then they capped it, and we had money, all there were 4 entities. Caratunk was one of the entities. And we put money in a closure account. So there was $90,000 that was sitting in a closure account. When we had set that for years and did no interest. So we put that into a CD. The Forks Plantation actually took their amount out. So when I'm thinking about this $200,000 we may need to pay, in the future we can take some money from the closure account and we can apply it to that. That will relieve our taxpayers a bit from what they've got to pay.
Cost in that is going to be around 10%.
I think, yeah, we're going to be responsible for 10% because.
25%.
Yeah, it's actually going to be. Yeah, like I said, the numbers are very rough right now, so I just have to remember when it's budget time, and I'll have better numbers by then.
I appreciate hearing this, and I would appreciate having it this year too, just in whatever rough form. Because I think as we look at this year's budget coming up, we need to anticipate that $1 million bridge or that fire station, or as we look at these pools of money over there. And I actually talked to a commissioner today. I know I'm new. But what's the 5-year expenditure outlook in the UT or in, we need some round numbers.
Yeah.
And not to hold anyone to them, but to say, all right, we got to think about, we have X, Y, and Z coming. And
Yeah, you gotta figure out where you're gonna get the funds.
So if we have an idea of what may, or even if it doesn't come to fruition, it's still on the
Yeah.
paper to safeguard.
Yeah, that's why, when I was thinking about funding, I said, I know where there's a pool of money that is just sitting there collecting interest.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a pretty shallow pool. So
Yeah, it's about,
it's more like a puddle.
it's about 10% of what we're gonna need.
But yeah, in general, the concept, if we can have that even in this budget season to say this is what I anticipate in the next
My
year,
budget's all
that's
done.
awesome.
Yeah, I won't touch my 28 budget until September of this year. So we're always in the UT budgeting so far ahead. I didn't know anything about the fire departments just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, no problem.
So we're looking at possibly 2 years away, so I will have a budgeting cycle or budgeting year before we wind up paying anything.
Yep.
So
Anything further
that's it.
from Dave or for Dave?
What was that?
I didn't know if there's anything further from you.
No,
That's
that's enough. You've heard my voice enough.
Derek.
We have two deputies that started the 49th budget on Monday. I did attend the criminal justice meeting with the county administrator today. For the we were representing the county administrator did the speaking, but for the Maine County Correctional Standard Council, in my 12 years of in front of the legislature, criminal justice. We should be very proud of our county administrator. It was the most concise presentation that I have seen in my 12 years, and really demonstrated how the state's responsibility has been going down, and that gap has been funded by county taxpayers. So I was very, very happy about that. I'm working with Pat and the county administrator on our budgets. My annual report for the towns will be going out this week. Just a couple high notes. Patrol covered 1,087 crashes last year, and the criminal division executed 59 search warrants, 42 of them being drug related in the county. So they're hard work. And lastly, we had got word from Collins's office, Susan Collins's office. We put in for communication gear for our helmets. That was approved, and also a very expensive proposal, new shelving for our evidence locker. She also approved that. And Representative Golden's office called us, I believe last week, to tell us that he's going to fund 2 speed trailers for.
I'm sorry, what?
Speed trailers,
Yeah.
we put up in a lot of communities in the summer.
Target speeds.
Yeah. They got my name and number.
Oh, yeah, they're doing it fast.
They're after me. So.
It says it. I
It's like
think
every
goodbye.
time I go by is broke because it just says too bad.
I have the same problem. It's something we have in common, Jim.
Just a quick, let's follow on here. What do you say?
Yeah, so with the new system, we're on Central Square. I believe our calls are up, but I don't like to say things that I don't know 100% sure. We're still trying to navigate how to collect those numbers out of that system. You will have that next year in the annual report. In the jail, supposedly we're supposed to go live March 31st with Central Square, and staff is working with Central Square has actually added more technicians to work with our jail people and get ready to jump off on March 31st.
Have you implemented the 4-shift yet?
No, I mean with the sergeants tomorrow night, and to talk about where personnel is going to go. I hope to have that implemented by the end of the month.
Do we have an update on numbers, Waldo, jail, population, those kind of things? We're doing okay, 340.
Yeah, so we do the contract for 40. We're running an average ADP about 34. They're paying for 40.
Are we getting any repercussions from it's in the news, ICE political jails, Cumberland?
Well, I'm always getting lawyers from the ACLU and the morning.
But our population-
And the morning.
I'm just curious whether even people that ordinarily would have gone to Cumberland.
No, we have not received anybody from Cumberland. I believe New Hampshire is a lot closer than bringing in with Somerset County, so we have not received anything from Cumberland.
Anything else? We may move along. No unfinished business, new business, resolution 2623 to approve ATV access to Lake Moxie Road in the Forks. Is there a motion?
We table this until we can do.
I'm sorry, move to table.
I think we need to discuss this one in my mind. I mean, if you're all trying to do that's fine. I'm going to stay beside. I just, in fact, in the conversation that we need more time.
Is there?
Pull that motion back.
But it's a table, so if there's no discussion on the table, is there a second? Being no,
I will
sign.
in respect to our fellow commissioner, I will second it because I think we should discuss.
We can't. There's no discussion on the table. Either it says direct up and down vote.
Okay, if you want discussion, you have to have a motion in favor and a second, then discussion. A motion to table only gets a second, and then you're done.
Oh, okay, I retract my second. I'm going to let it.
I'm not sure what you're doing. I'm just saying.
You have to vote it down if you want it to.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for
yeah.
telling me.
So, for lack of a second, the motion fails.
I would make a motion to approve the ATV access to Lake Moxie Road in the Forks. We can go either way. That's a motion. But we can't.
And there's a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
I just, the reason I don't that way is we have a lot of discussion during the workshop, and I think it's still a little bit that we, need to tell them what we want to do, what we want something to play, or all other aspects of it. Be ready to make this all, it's all about what I want to do, but the reason why I thought possible would be that we could have more discussion about all of the things that came out during the workshop and make sure the process is right.
I need to modify my motion because we can, so if Joel.
I would like to make a friendly addition to the amendment to your motion, and maybe it feeds into yours, the sunset provision.
So I need to make a motion in favor of wording, so we can go either way and do what Scott is suggesting, but my motion would be to approve ATV access to the Lake Moxie Road in the Forks from dusk to dawn, from ATV season at a speed of 35 miles an hour. Now we can do what we
Do you want to?
for 1 year.
Yeah, right, and add the friendly amendment of, I'm in favor of the sunset,
1 year?
with the with the year, in the interim of exploring the other trail options.
Yeah. So that would be the motion. Would you?
We will accept this friendly. Who wants the motion? Motion.
And second.
Any further discussion?
Well, I would oppose. I'm not going to vote in favor of it. I would incorporate by reference to the comments I made earlier in the workshop, and I would conclude by saying that someone's going to get killed, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. I think it's unsafe and irresponsible to open up that road for ATV use. And I think we should fix up the trail.
Anything further to add?
I thought on 35-mile-an-hour things, that's gonna take a considerable amount of time. So again, question would be, I mean, do we run the risk of putting it in place and see a year and then see the results of the risk, or do we wait until that 35-mile-an-hour is approved?
I think that we're going to be pursuing the 35 mile an hour approval anyway. So whether this goes up and down, that portion is going to still continue going forward. I think that we're going to be looking at trail improvements plus the parallel trails. If there can be, those can be established. So,
And although the state recommends that we follow the posted speed limit, ATV clubs and or governments can issue a slower speed limit than 45. So I would suggest that even for this year, we have the right to say ATVs can't exceed 35, even in 845. They suggest it goes with the flow of traffic, but it can be modified down. We can't make it faster, but we can modify. That's from talking to.
interesting point. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? And it's 2-3 opposed. So the motion does not carry.
Do we, just for finality's sake, do we need a motion to deny the request and the
No,
permit?
this suffices that. I'd like to create a resolution in the affirmative.
Yeah.
Even if we anticipate that.
No, I would only accept the motion in the affirmative anyway. If somebody said, I make a motion to deny, that would work.
Well, just for the purpose of AEB and that procedure, I think there has to be we're going to draft a official
Right, that will
decision,
the next agenda.
and that will be subject to that. Okay.
Right. Yeah, we'll have that. Resolution 2624 to approve the promotion of Gene Waugh to corporal at the Somerset County Jail.
Move.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Mr. Go. Thank you. Congratulations, Gene Waugh. Resolution 2625 to approve transfer of capital funds to facilitate the replacement of the administrative vehicle for the Somerset County Jail.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to hear from Patrick on the numbers for where we transfer the capital fund from the jail to the jail. Is that correct?
Yes, 10,000.
10,000.
To the law enforcement.
Yeah. The vehicle has been, offered at 45,000. 5,000 is going to come from the trade-in of the actual jail vehicle. And because they could get 15,000 for the other vehicle, which the jail is getting, the jail already paid 5,000, so they only owe 10,000 to cover that cost, the actual trade-in cost. I'm going to be transferring 10,000 from the jail to the sheriff to replenish their vehicle.
So the jail paying the sheriff's office.
No, so it's all the sheriff's office. The corrections office is paying the law enforcement division.
So it's a line item transfer.
Right.
One line to
Correct.
another.
It's a
You
fund.
should have had this copy in your packet with numbers that Patrick just explained.
Right. I did not see it, but that's kind of wondering where it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's your signature copy of it.
there you go. There it is, right there. Yeah. All right. So, any further questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? I don't see. Everybody's in favor. Very good. Thank you. Unorganized territory, resolution 2625 to authorize a request for proposals for paving on the Longfellow Dams Road.
Second.
Discussion.
Just a little more information on the David Road.
That's the Longfellow's Dam Road to you.
But yeah, just about. I'm never exactly sure where this section is. I'm quite familiar with the road, so
Yeah,
you get past Highland,
yeah.
you start going up the hill.
When you drop down from Highland Plantation, the road actually veers to the west. That's actually Franklin County. We plow a section, 2.4 miles of road in Franklin County. They reimburse us. We have an agreement. And then you hit the county line. You're back in Somerset County at Dead River.
Yeah, just up by some bogs.
Yeah, it's about a mile before you get to Flagstaff Lake, and then all the way up and across Dead River. 9.5 miles of the end of that road is ours, and we basically break it into 4 sections, and we pave a section a year.
And do we go all the way to the end of the pavement at the dam?
Yes, yeah. Right when the bridge is crossing Dead River, our plow guy just drives across the bridge, turns around, and heads back south. So, pretty much where the bridge is, we stop.
So that hill, the big hill, when you come up on top of the big hill, there's this big sort of swooshy dip.
Yep.
And that's not us.
No.
Who does that?
That is Highland Plantations. Pretty sure.
Does the state have any section as well?
Maybe.
Yeah, actually, the whole road is state until you get our northern section. So the state plows, pays for plowing through Lexington, Highland Plantation, and the section of Franklin County, Carabassa Valley.
But Highland Plantation is unorganized.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, Highland Plantation is going to become it's going to become a UT. The plantation is.
But I hope you're right. The state plows all the way up to Highland?
Well, I shouldn't say they plow. They do the summer maintenance. They generally will fund us, and they fund, I think they fund Highland Plantation to have our contractors cover the state.
But they won't fund us north of that county line that you.
Yes, they actually do. We get a check from, it's not called URIP or LRAP, depending on.
Local Road Assistance.
Yeah, Local Road Assistance Program. They give us about $90,000 a year. I think it was $90,000 this year. So yeah, we do get funded. It's state aid, is what they call it, state aid.
Okay.
So how much are you asking for to be paid of that 9 miles?
2.3 miles this time. Yep.
Okay.
Last time we paved was the northern piece, and it was 2.5 miles right before the bridge, and then 2.5 miles south from the bridge. Is what we did in 23. That's the last time we did paving. We took a year or two off to replace and slip line most of the culverts we're going to pave over this year coming up.
Any further discussion? All in favor? We're off to that. Very good, thank you. Warrants, Resolution 2626 to approve the treasurer's warrant for general fund, Somerset County Jail and unorganized territories for a total amount of $567,562.42.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Here we go. Resolution 2627 to donate $8,000 to the Winslow Food Cupboard for work done in Somerset County.
Second.
Discussion?
You can jump in.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only. Don?
No, sir.
None.
Nothing.
No way.
And now we will recess to execute documents.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I keep leaving it in there.
He dwarfed me.